There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Mental Health Monday here on Even Tacos Fall Apart. I am super excited to have you here today. As always, we are doing this live so we can get some Q&A from y'all. So if you have any questions, we do have a question queue open. Feel free to type exclamation point Q. Follow that with your question, and we will make sure to get that answered for you. And if you're here on YouTube, just stick it in the chat and we'll make sure to get it from YouTube as well. But today I am joined by Diana Colleen, an award-winning speculative fiction author whose debut novel, They Could Be Saviors, explores psychedelic therapy, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight, climate change, and wealth inequity in really unexpected ways. Diana has lived with chronic pain from ankylosing spondylitis. I hope I said that correctly.
You did.
Okay, great. Since she was 12, and after decades of trauma, she found herself suicidal in her 40s. Psychedelic-assisted therapy really saved her life, and since then, she's trained as a psychedelic facilitator, written a novel that imagines what could happen if we use these tools for transformation on a much bigger scale. So I am so glad, Diana, to have you here to talk about your journey and your work. And like I said, y'all, if you have any questions for Diana, feel free to drop those in. We are going to be talking about psychedelic-assisted therapy, and I have some links to share with you if you're looking to connect with Diana anywhere. But Diana, again, thank you so much just for agreeing to be here and for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here too. So, yeah, this is great. Thank you.
I always love it when people are excited to be here. That's fantastic. Rose, I see you. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully, you're having a great start to your week. And anybody else who's here and listening, I hope you're having a great start to your week as well. We do these on Mondays, and that's one of those things that's like Mondays can be a really shitty day, but we're here at the end of Monday to just kind of help you refocus and hopefully get a little bit of learning done at the beginning of your week. So let's jump in here. Diana, what inspired you to start sharing your story through your writing and your speaking?
Um, uh, I have to say something at the start of this too.
Yeah,
I have menopause brain. So
that's okay.
that's that's a real
It's a
thing. I
valid,
want people
yes,
to understand
valid
it's a
and real.
real thing.
Yes.
So sometimes I lose my train of thought, like, halfway through saying something, or
All
if you ask
good.
me a question, I'll, like, deer in headlights, and I feel like I was very prepared for this whole thing. Just like, "Huh?"
It's okay. We're all friends here. It's all good. No worries. If you need a pause, take a pause. It's fine.
No, like, the sharing of my personal story, my trauma story, and, that really didn't, start until after I wrote the book. I realized that I have a story to share, and the book is kind of a platform for me to do that. And so the book addresses 3 major themes, but I think my personal story brings people to the book, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a symbiotic relationship between my story and the book.
So, did you start writing the book with the intent to share your story, or were you starting on these other topics and you're just like, you know what, my story goes in here too?
Yeah, yeah, I didn't realize that people would care about the author.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a shock to me that people cared about my story, not just the story I wrote. So yeah, but now I'm becoming more comfortable sharing my personal stuff. It's a very vulnerable place to be, and I'm not really used to that. So
Yeah.
the more podcasts and stuff that I do, it's getting easier. So I appreciate being on shows like yours where we can talk honestly about this kind of thing because there is so much stigma and it's kind of like I said, is very vulnerable to share these things with the world.
Yeah, it really can be. And it can be really challenging, especially right at first. You asked me earlier how long I've done this for. So I've been sharing my story since 2019, not only through the podcast, but by joining other folks on theirs. And at the very beginning, I remember how it was like, wait, am I doing this? What do I even say? Like
It's
it gets really weird. You get really weird and in your head about it. The more you do it though, the more you're going, "Oh, I have this voice that I need to share. I have this story that I need to get out there and
yeah,
it can help someone." And that's the cool part is that it's
exactly.
like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I could be helping someone right now." So, I'm so
yeah,
glad that you decided to include your story because I think that really helps things resonate with a lot of people.
yeah, yeah.
Do you have a favorite book or a book that you feel like more folks should take the time to read?
Oh, definitely. The author who's really influenced my writing the most is Daniel Quinn, and his book Ishmael. Um, that was probably the first book I read as an adult that just made me go, "Holy crap." Like, I have been looking at the world in a completely sort of different way than what the book was writing about, and it made me realize, um, a lot about how society functions and why society is the way it is. One of the things that he talks about is the scarcity mindset. So, it Ishmael's a novel, but it's kinda like my novel. It really touches on, important things. So he talked about, the scarcity mindset coming into our consciousness at the exact time when we had abundance. So when we went from hunter-gatherers to the agrarian society where we were growing food, we didn't have to worry about where our next meal was coming from. But at that point, we also started locking up food. We locked up the resources, and somebody was in control of that. And people ended up not having enough because somebody else was controlling it. And so with my book, it takes that to sort of the next level that you look around the world and there's so much suffering and you think, well, the world doesn't provide enough for everybody, which isn't true. The world is abundant, but all of the wealth is concentrated at the top. And that's what needs to change.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. And I feel like there are plenty of books out there that maybe don't have a super central theme that you can pick up on and go, "Oh, this is what I could learn from this book." Sometimes a book is just a book to read and enjoy and whatever, and that's
Yeah.
fine. Little bit of escapism, but it's always neat to pick up a book and go, "Whoa, this is a story, but this story is really resonating with me for this reason and everything." And I love that you have a
Yeah.
book that touched you like that. That's fantastic. Have you had a lot
Yeah.
of books since then that you're like, this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm reading for.
Um, I just started reading, Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. It's something that I've been meaning to read for decades.
Yep,
So
yep.
and just in the first, 20, 25 pages, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, why didn't I read this sooner?"
Yes, yeah. One of my goals this year is to read more nonfiction books. So my goal is like three. I don't read non I read fiction all the time. So one of my goals is to read at least three, and
Okay.
we'll get there. We'll get there. It'll be fine.
My friend is actually launching her nonfiction book the same we're co-launching our books, and you might be interested in it. It's called Shake Yourself Free. So it's about somatic movement. It's
Hmm.
about like healing yourself through moving your body.
I
So
love
yeah.
that. Is okay, so Shake Yourself Free. Is it out already?
Yeah. No, it's coming out
Oh, it's
January
coming out. Okay.
13th.
Okay, cool. All right.
Same as mine. Yeah.
I'll have to look for it.
Yeah.
I'll have to look for
Yeah.
it. So Rose says, "Can I hear a condensed version of your story? I don't think I've heard it." I love that question. I know we're going to dig into your story, but do you want to give us kind of like a framework of just the maybe the highlight reel?
Of my personal story,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my life.
Yeah, your life story.
Oh, sure.
Or just maybe some of the things that you touch on in your book would be great.
Well, actually, I don't really talk about my own
Mm.
trauma in the book.
Okay.
Like, it's not there. So my own story started as a child born into poverty. We lived out kind of in the boonies on a very small farm. We didn't have a telephone, we didn't have a television, and we'd go into town to look for food in dumpsters for our animals, but we ended up eating it ourselves because we needed to. And out there on the farm, there were very few people around, so not a lot of friends. There was one family that had a daughter who was about mine and my sister's age, but they also had a teenage son. So that teenage son molested me and my
Mm.
sister for years. So that was obviously very traumatic.
Yeah.
And then my father left when I was 11 and uh, basically abandoned us. He didn't provide for us in any way whatsoever. And my mom was an immigrant from South Africa, didn't really have an education, and needed to do whatever she could to put a roof over our head and food on the table. And she ended up basically turning our home into a group home for delinquent teenagers.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So, from the age of 11 onwards, I had these, 16, 17-year-old people living in my home and doing really horrible things. So,
Mm.
like smearing feces on the wall, killing our pets, stealing from me,
Oh my
that kind of
gosh.
thing. Yeah. So my whole childhood was very different from most people's. I started working when I was 11 years old as a waitress because I had to. I had to buy my own clothes. I needed to help my mom with household expenses. So yeah, I've been working since I was a very young kid, and I put myself through college. Worked 3 jobs, put myself through college, and I intended to go to law school. But after finishing my BA, I was just burned out. I couldn't even think about going doing more schooling and having to work so hard. So I decided to join the RCMP, which is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. I'm Canadian. And while I was waiting to get into the RCMP, it was a process. So it took a couple of years. I decided to be a firefighter at a ski resort. And I was sexually assaulted by my
Oh
boss.
no.
Yeah.
I was all excited
And
about
what
the firefighter part.
Yeah, I was too.
Oh,
It was amazing until it wasn't.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so then, when the RCMP found out, they victim blamed me, and they said that I was no longer a good candidate for the police force because I allowed myself to be blackmailed.
Oh, come on.
So that was a huge turning point in my life. I did not know what to do. I just,
Yeah.
like, I s everything that I'd worked towards, that I'd worked so hard for, was just gone, and I packed my cats and whatever I could fit into my car, and I drove to Seattle, and I've been here ever since. Um, I made my life work. For the most part, I just stuffed everything down. I've always been, put on a brave face, don't deal with things, just stuff it down. And in 2018, I couldn't stuff anymore, and everything just came up, and I became suicidal.
Mm.
And that was really, really scary. But I recognized it, and so I knew that I needed to get help, and I did. I was so fortunate to find an underground psychedelic therapist, and like you said, she saved my life, and the rest is history.
And now here we are talking about all this.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. And Rose says me as well. So let me see if I can speed run my trauma also. So for those who don't know my story, and it's true, I don't really talk about my story on my own podcast. Oddly enough, I don't talk about myself very much. I talk about other people. But for those who don't know some of the things that I've been through, obviously I can't cover it all in like 2 minutes. But I've got two kids. I was in an abusive marriage, an abusive relationship, and I went through a really awful divorce during COVID. I've been through fertility issues. I've been through infidelity type situations. I've been through medical traumas with pelvic organ prolapse that led to a hysterectomy and some other things that went down, especially during childbirth as well. I had two fairly traumatic births that were high risk and everything. And then also in 2017, my grandfather went missing. It turns out he probably killed himself, but we won't ever know that for sure. We didn't find his remains until 2023, but that was a whole like
Mhm.
family trauma that our entire family went through. Um, and let's see what else. I'm sure there's more that I just missed in all of that. But yeah, I mean, I've been through a lot, and I talk about that a lot. I went through postpartum depression as well, and now here we are talking about everything. So there's a lot. I've been through a lot in my life. Not all of it. Oh, hold on one second, Bubba. Can you go put your sword away, or at least go away from here so I can't hear you playing with it? Thank you. I love you. You got 10 minutes till bed. Uh, he doesn't have school again until Wednesday. He's on winter break. And so it's like,
Oh, okay.
normally he would be in bed. Normally he'd be in bed right now. But yeah, so I've been through quite a bit. Oh, I there was a stalker situation where he I wound up having to get the police involved, and actually good outcome on that because the guy wound up going to jail, which is so rare and so
Yeah.
unusual in the US that that would even be a thing. I had to have surgery on both wrists at one time because I had carpal tunnel syndrome in both hands. So like all of this stuff, I've been through a lot, and it's like I had to go through a lot of therapy. I did not try psychedelic assisted therapy though. So let's dig into that part of it. But that's like a speed run of my stuff in not chronological order. And I do talk about it quite a bit. I've got, if you go to the website, tacosfallapart.com, you can see some of the places that I've talked about it as well. They're linked on there under guest appearances. So feel free, if you're interested in to go check that out, feel free to go check that out. But let's get into the psychedelic assisted part. What does that actually mean, and what makes it different from just enjoying psychedelics recreationally?
Yeah. Um, so the biggest difference between just taking psychedelics on your own versus having it as part of therapy, we talk about set and setting. So it's mindset and the setting that you're in, and it's all about safety. So while psychedelic therapy is incredibly safe, there are things that can happen while you're under the influence that you might need support with. So that's the key. Um, but it really is about going in with intention. So I think a lot of people when they just take psychedelics recreationally, they're wanting an experience, and there's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So like wanting a mystical experience or just wanting to go out and have fun with your friends. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it's not the same as assisted therapy. So assisted therapy is for people with trauma, um, or just struggling with something, and they want help with that. So while the actual psychedelic experience can be similar to just doing it on your own, it's the integration afterwards that's the important part. So when you after you've had the session with the substance, you then have another session after, like, when a day or two afterwards, where you talk with therapists so that you can take everything that you've learned during the day on the substance and integrate that into your life so that you move forward differently.
Yeah. It's really interesting because like you could just take a psychedelic recreationally and then have things come up that you really should have someone there with you for, but you just don't because that's not what your intention was. Do you think that
Right.
your intention when you go into it, do you think that changes some of the things that you experience either during or after?
Yes and no. So with a psychedelic facilitator, typically you have a couple of sessions prior to the day under the substance where
Mm,
you talk about, your issues, what you want to get out of the session, and what your intentions are. But the the medicines have their own way of knowing what you need.
mm,
So even if you set all of these intentions, like I want to work on this issue, or this is what's really bothering me in my life right now and I really want to get this sorted out, you might work on that during the session, but something else completely different that you didn't even know you needed to work on can come up. So there's no way of knowing what's
yeah.
going to happen in the session. Yeah.
It's like the saying, if you want to make God laugh, make a plan.
Exactly. That's
Yeah,
exactly it. Yeah.
yeah. And Rose says, thank you so much for both of y'all for sharing the condensed version of y'all's stories. I'm happy to, absolutely. So, can you take us back to that moment where you realized you needed help? What led you to psychedelic assisted therapy, also? Just like when did you realize you needed help in general? And then when did you kind of get to that part?
So, I think it was in 2016. I knew that I could sort of start feeling something going on in me. I was like, "What is that? I don't like this," and I ran away from it.
Mm,
I moved I moved to Costa Rica by myself in the middle of the jungle, not knowing the language. It was a whole thing. But I think I was running away from this stuff that was starting to bubble up. But while I was there, I I met somebody who was talking about his friend who is a shaman and did ayahuasca ceremonies. And
mm,
I'd heard about ayahuasca and I was very interested in, I thought, yes, I think that might help me. So I, I did an ayahuasca ceremony in Costa Rica. Probably not the best psychedelic to start with. Like I'd never really done any kind of drugs in my entire life, and then I go
hmm.
right into an ayahuasca ceremony, and I thought I was going to die. It was a very traumatic experience, and I said I would never do anything like that ever again. But the medicine keeps working even after the ceremony, and it really opened up my, um, awareness, I guess, and I was like, "I think plant medicine is really important, and I think I need to look into that more." But then I didn't really think about it much, and then in 2018, when I was feeling suicidal, um I can tell you, like, the moment I realized that I needed help, it was probably the first time, um, probably the only time really, that I feel like I had an outer body experience.
Mm,
So, I was in a really, really unhealthy relationship, and that was kind of the catalyst for my shit coming up. Um, and I remember being on a bus with him, and it was like I was looking at both of us from outside. It I don't know if it was my higher self or what you wanna call it, but I was looking at us, and I was going, "Diana, that's not you. That is not who you are, that's not who you're meant to be," and that's when I realized that I needed help, and
yeah.
I didn't want to be that person. Yeah, so I went to a meetup for a plant medicine group, and I met somebody there who had treatment-resistant depression, and he was doing psychedelic-assisted therapy, and he referred me to his therapist, and his therapist couldn't get me in for about 6 months. And I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
"I'm not gonna be here in 6 months." So he was training somebody, and he said, "Well, she's not fully trained yet, but she can probably get you in." And I'm like, "Sign me up." And she was able to get me in pretty much right away, and she saved my life.
Yeah.
Absolutely saved my life.
Wow. So first of all, like kudos for even recognizing that that was an immediate need that you needed and you were like it's this or I'm done. Like and then you acted on it. That's fantastic. Like that's really really wonderful. So what was your first session like? Were you scared, especially after your ayahuasca experience? Were you scared going into this? Did she help you with that? Like did you tell her, "Hey, I am terrified" or anything?
Yeah. Yeah, so the substance that we used for my first session with her was MDMA,
Mm,
and so she explained to me how different that is from, say, ayahuasca or mushrooms, and, just knowing about the substance and sort of what to expect really eased my
yeah.
nerves because I was terrified. I grew up in the '80s with the war on drugs, with the egg in the frying pan, and all drugs are bad.
Yes.
So yeah, I was terrified of drugs, and, she really helped ease that, but yeah, I was scared, but MDMA is, not scary,
Yeah.
not scary at all.
Can you
Yeah.
tell us about your experience with that?
It's, it's a heart-opening drug, so it's really good for looking at relationships. It kind of takes away your fear.
Mm,
So not like your fear of looking at yourself and your fear of your trauma. So I think in talk therapy, I think talk therapy is fantastic. For a lot of people, talk therapy really works, but for some people, it re-traumatizes you.
yeah.
So when you're talking to somebody about what has happened to you, your body feels what it felt when you went through that trauma. With MDMA, your body doesn't feel that, and you're looking at everything from a different perspective, and it's so hard to explain to somebody who hasn't had the experience, but, it's just you feel like you're just wrapped in a blanket of love, and you realize that you are love. Like, I didn't know that. I did not know that I am love until that day. So, like, that changes everything when you feel the love for yourself, when you feel the love coming from yourself, it's life-changing.
Yeah. Were you already out of the relationship that you had been in, or did that help you through it or
It
anything?
it helped me get out of it.
Kind of realize that you
Yeah.
deserved better, you deserved more.
Yeah. Yeah, and, uh, it's sad because, like, the person that I was with needs so much help as well.
Yeah.
And it was really hard leaving knowing that he needed help, but that's not my, I needed to take care of myself first.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now
Yeah.
you kind of compared it to traditional therapy. Had you been through traditional therapy as well at that point?
Some, like, not ongoing. So I
Yeah.
had another episode when I was in college, where I actually went to the hospital on my own. I'm like, I need help. But I feel like these two episodes were very different. So in college, I feel like it was more kind of um, things happening to me. So
Mm.
because I was working so much and I was trying to keep my grades up, and I had so much going on that it was kind of stress induced.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was put on antidepressants for that, which didn't really help me. And I did some talk therapy. I made it through that. But in 2018, it was such a different feeling. So I think they were both depression, but in 2018, I knew it was about me. It wasn't
Mhm.
about what was happening to me, it was about who I am and, like, that being not enough, and I think a lot of people can relate to the feeling of not being enough, and that was where the darkness came from.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of that internal versus external piece of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Now, you've
Um,
lived with chronic pain since you were 12. Did psychedelic therapy change your relationship with pain or with that pain in particular, or how did you experience that?
um, I think that my whole life I've been very disconnected from my body because of the trauma, because of the
Mm.
pain. I've just, like, tried to ignore my body. So I've never really listened to what my body's telling me. And I think that the psychedelics kickstarted kind of me listening to my body.
Mm.
And through my whole healing process, I've realized that I've been in fight or flight my entire life. So my body has been tensed my entire life. It's just on high alert. And I didn't realize that I didn't even know how to relax my body. So now that I meditate, my meditations always start by relaxing each part of my body. And even in meditation, I'll become aware of a certain part that is tensing up again. I'm like, okay, I need to relax that because my natural state is tense. And
Mhm.
so this whole healing thing is really helping me connect to my body.
Yeah. It's interesting that it's the meditation piece that's kind of like helping you focus on that. Did you realize that through psychedelics, or was that just something that kind of like it's just all hand in hand at that point?
Yeah, so the psychedelics have kind of allowed me to see different things that are helpful. So, like, I'm building my toolbox. Um, and there's certain things that I've always been dismissed in the past, like meditation. I'm like, well, I can't meditate. I can't sit still. I can't clear my head. And I've always been like, that's not for me. But after psychedelics, I'm like, the psychedelic community is also very um I don't know what the word is. Menopause brain. Like, it's a holistic thing. It's not just psychedelics. It's
Mhm.
meditation, it's somatics, it's the full is all of you. It's your
Yeah.
spiritual self, it's your body. So, my spirituality has like, I was not a spiritual person at all before any of this. I don't know that I would call myself an atheist before, but, like, I just I had religious trauma as a child as well, so,
Yeah.
like, that was a whole thing. But since working with psychedelics and working with meditation and all these things, my spirituality is a key part of me, and meditation is, um I practice it every day. It's part of what I do to keep myself healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. You've really just kind of like taken it as a these are the things that really well, you said earlier that you were building your toolkit and these are the things that support you in every aspect of your life. That's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, the psychedelics were the catalyst for all of the other stuff, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. 100%.
Yeah.
Is there anything that surprised you about your own healing journey?
Um, just, I guess, how much easier life is when you're not
Mm.
suppressing everything. When you actually deal with your shit, like, you can actually let go of it instead of,
Yeah.
like, when you don't deal with it, it's always there. You're always dealing with it even though you're not dealing with it, if that makes sense, like,
Yeah.
but if you learn how to actually deal with it and then let it go, your life just improves drastically.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're carrying
Yeah.
it around all the time. Whether you're
Yeah.
dealing with it or actively thinking about it or not, like it's there. You're carrying it with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so life has just become I mean, I I have a life now that I could never have imagined Like, my life is amazing. It's amazing right now. I can't
Yeah.
believe this is my life from where I came from.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's awesome.
it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
So you had these experiences, a bad experience, a better experience, other experiences as well, or just those two?
With psychedelics,
Yeah.
uh, I have done ayahuasca again. It was not nearly as traumatic.
Did it oh,
It
it
was
went better?
actually yeah, it was I had a very, very cool experience in that one that will stay with me forever. Um, and the therapist that I initially went to, she put me into a women's group,
Hmm,
and this women's group is actually there's a lot of therapists in it. So we journey together about 3 times a year as a group, and that's kind of our therapy together. And that's kind of how I fell into becoming a facilitator.
well, that's a perfect transition. That was gonna be my next question is what made you want to train as a facilitator after your own experiences?
I think that it's about access. Like I want everyone to have access to this type of therapy, and right now because it's illegal,
Yeah,
it's very expensive. So all of the therapists, they have to charge an amount that is sort of takes into account the risk that they're taking.
yeah,
So it's really expensive, and I want to be able to offer it to people who might not be able to afford it.
yeah.
That's my goal. Yeah.
Is that worth the risk for you?
Um, yes. Yeah, if I yeah, I just really wanna help people, and I really want
Yeah.
to be an advocate for this type of therapy to get it legalized. I
Mhm.
want this therapy legalized.
Yeah,
So that's one of my main goals.
that's great.
Yeah.
Is there anything you wish more folks understood about this kind of therapy? I mean, obviously it's illegal, and so I'm sure there are a lot of misconceptions and everything. Anything you would clear up if you could?
Yeah, I think that people know that it is illegal, but they don't understand why it's
Yeah,
illegal, and I think that they think that it's unsafe, that because it's illegal, that it's unsafe and the government is protecting us. The There were tons of studies done in the 40s, 50s, 60s, showing how effective this type of therapy is. But during the Vietnam War, Nixon saw the hippies doing, enjoying psychedelics and the counterculture of the war, the protesters. He basically equated psychedelics with um, social unrest, I guess,
yeah.
and just shut everything down. He scheduled all the drugs as Schedule 1 drugs, which means you can't even study them. So all of the studies were shut down for decades. The entire world followed. Like
Yep.
Nixon decided to do this, and then the entire world was like, "Oh, good idea." So it's only just starting to be studied again. So I
Mhm.
think Australia has legalized psilocybin. Was it Poland just a few days ago legalized psilocybin for therapy? I think it was Poland. But yeah, so countries are starting to be, hey, we need this. This is really important. There's just so much evidence that it is really, really helpful, especially for things like PTSD and addiction. And can you imagine, like our war veterans their suicide rate is like way more than the normal population.
Yeah.
If our war veterans could have access to this, it would change everything. And then the homeless population, a lot of them are addicts, and this could this could eradicate homelessness if it was legalized and was um you know at a price point that people actually could use it. that it's not just for the elite tech bros.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you say it's not just for the elite tech bros, because one of the things that I always bring up, I always bring this up whenever I talk about psychedelics, is the show. I think it was on Hulu. I don't know if it still is, but Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia, and he comes
Oh,
off
I
as
haven't
a,
heard of that.
oh, it's wonderful. It's fantastic. It's this guy. He looks like a rich tech bro, though. He's not. He's actually a researcher and a scientist, but he looks like that kind of person, and it's like that's the typical kind of person that you think of. Um, no, I highly recommend that show. Not having
Okay.
done any of this myself, obviously I don't have any legs to stand on when it comes to recommending shows, but it's fascinating because he
Huh.
goes to wherever it is that they originated the psychedelic, and he gets to know the local culture. He does all these tests on things, and then he experiences it himself as well.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes in a good way, sometimes it doesn't go as well, and that's part of it. But yeah, it's really fascinating. It's a fascinating show. I hope it's still on. I don't know if it is still on
I'll have to
Hulu,
look
but
that up. You said it was Hamilton's
Hamilton's
cornucopia?
Pharmacopoeia.
Pharmacope. Okay.
Pharmacopoeia. Let me see if I can. Let's see where it's playing right now. It's on Vice TV. Sure, where whatever that is.
Never heard of that.
It's on Roku. So there's that. Oh, it's on Prime Video.
Uh,
Okay, all right.
oh, I've got that.
Yep, there you go. Yeah.
Excellent.
But it's a very good it's a great show. It's entertaining, but also it's very informative because he does go into a lot of what goes into it in the culture. I think is that's the part that I was like, oh, this is fun to watch, even though I have no idea what's going on. It's fun to watch because it goes to he goes to all these different places across the world. It's really cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look into that.
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah.
great.
Let me know what you think. If you do watch it, let me know what
Yeah.
you think. I think it came out in like 10 years ago. So it's
Oh,
probably
wow.
dated by now,
Okay.
but I want to talk about your novel a little bit because your novel imagines billionaireism as an illness that can be treated. And I think that that's a really cool
Mm.
concept. It's very bold. Where did that idea come from for you?
So I've always thought of billionaires as dragons. I
Hmm.
think some people
Ah,
think of that, like, sitting on a pile of gold and,
yes.
you know, you can't touch this. And psychologists have talked about um, pathological accumulation being, it reflects like unmet psychological needs when
Right.
you're accumulating and accumulating. And we see on TV the program Hoarders, and
Hmm.
we can see that that is a mental illness, that that is affecting that person and their family. It doesn't usually spill out into society, but it's definitely a mental illness. Billionaires hoard at such a level that it affects every single one of us on the planet and the planet itself. And as a society, we're talking about billionaires as successful. And
Hmm.
I want to flip that narrative to billionaires are mentally ill. And it's not a judgmental thing. It's a human thing. I want to
Yeah.
humanize them. They are just people like the rest of us. And if it's a mental illness, let's treat it.
Hmm. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, they are just hoarders, right? It's just that they're not hoarding
Yeah,
necessarily physical things. Although I'll bet if you put all of their stuff in a house as small as the houses that you see on hoarders, it
right?
would look a lot like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for
It's just that they
sure.
can afford bigger houses, and so it's more spread out. But
They
yeah,
can spread it out. Yep.
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, I feel like once you get to a certain point of wealth, why doesn't something kick in that goes, "Oh, I should share this with other people." Come on.
I have enough. I think it comes
Yes.
back to what is enough.
Yeah.
And if you have this hole inside of you, you're never gonna be able to fill it. And so it's more and more and more trying to fill a psychological need,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're never gonna be able to do that if you don't have therapy.
Yeah, true. Do you think if we put every billionaire through psychedelic assisted therapy, That they would be like, no, I shouldn't be a billionaire.
That's the dream.
That is the
That's the
dream.
dream.
I love it.
But
That's,
I have to put a caveat on that. Psychedelic assisted therapy is not for everybody. So
yeah.
there are certain conditions, if you're on certain medications, that kind of thing, you're not a candidate for this.
Mm.
And obviously, I don't know any billionaires. I don't know. They would need to be screened by a doctor to
Yes.
see if they actually can go through it. But I do believe that that psychedelic therapy, because we know there are some billionaires who just do psychedelics. Um, they're not necessarily poster children for psychedelic therapy, um, but I feel like billionaires are very disconnected from humanity.
Yeah.
They live in a completely different reality than we do, and psychedelics, especially, I would think, um, kind of mushrooms, really they 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 show you how you're connected to everybody. They show you how you're connected to nature. And once you've seen that, you can't unsee it. Once you
Hmm.
feel that connection, you can't unfeel it. So I do believe that billionaires would feel a lot more connected to us and to nature if they had proper therapy.
Boy, I think everyone can agree with that statement for sure. You brought up kind of the doctor screening. Did you have to go through a lot of doctor screening? I mean, I would think probably not for the ayahuasca experience, but for the psychedelic assisted therapy piece of it, did you have to go through a lot of like did you have to find a GP that was willing to screen for that kind of thing, or was it just go get these things checked and bring me the lab results?
So there are doctors who actually do a screening for psychedelics. So
Oh,
if you're able to find a doctor that does that, it's like, do that.
yeah.
Definitely do that before you find a therapist. Um, but as a therapist, there's a whole intake.
Hmm.
So we are trained to ask the questions, about your medical past and what drugs you're on and that kind of thing. So we are trained to do that ourselves, but I feel much more comfortable if somebody has seen a doctor first.
Right. Yeah.
Because people sometimes lie on intake forms and stuff, and I understand why. Like some people I was desperate when
Hmm.
I went into this. I was desperate. And when you're desperate, you do things that might not be best for you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but if you are going into this, please don't lie about
Mhm.
your medical history, because it is so important that we keep you safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say in general, like, don't lie to your doctors and don't lie to your
Right.
therapists, you know? That's
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
general. I've been
Yeah.
to the doctor with some folks and, they ask, I'm in Texas, everything's illegal here. They'll ask the questions like, do you smoke weed? And the other person goes, no. And I'm like, yes, yes, they do. Please, yeah, your doctor's not calling the
Yeah.
cops. Please be honest. They need to know this
Yeah.
stuff. They're treating a medical
Yeah.
emergency. They need to know the truth, please.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how much of your own therapeutic experience do you put into your work and how do you decide what to leave out?
Like I said, my actual trauma isn't in the
Yeah.
book, but the so because of my training, I know how to write about um the process,
Yeah.
like what actually happens in a session, and writing about somebody else's trip, that was really hard. That was the hardest part of writing this book, was writing other people's psychedelic trips, but it was really fun. It was
Yeah.
really fun trying to write that. But yeah, my personal stuff really isn't in the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So whenever you're writing about someone else's trip, is it just like trying to get their story out of them? Do you have a series of questions that you go through with them, or is it just Just like, tell me about it. Just tell me everything about it.
So it, it's just a creative process.
Yeah.
So um it's kind of coming up with what kind of traumas somebody might have had and what that trauma might do to their brain while they're under the influence and how that might um, be, like expressed by
Hmm.
the drugs, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But, a psychedelic trip, explaining that to somebody who's never done it, it's really hard to explain how you can see that everything is connected.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was fun to write it.
That's great. You always want to have fun writing, right? Otherwise, it's not going to be fun
Yeah.
to read necessarily. I mean, besides like getting through
Yeah,
writer's block and that kind of thing isn't fun, but in general,
yeah,
if you're having fun writing it, probably people are going to have fun when they're reading it. Good.
yeah,
What do
yeah.
you hope folks take away from They Could Be Saviors?
Hope. It's a hopeful book. So I think that a lot of it's classified as dystopian.
Mhm.
And I think when people hear the word dystopian, they're thinking doom, like
Yeah.
all these other dystopian books, our future looks so bleak. But with this book, it's about how our future can actually change and that it's not going to take that much to save the world. So I want people to have hope for the future because I think there's not a lot of hope right now in the world about
Hmm.
what's going to happen. Um, but I think that I heard somebody say fairly recently, hope is the consequence of action. And I think that if more people sort of understood what that means, the world would change. So just having hope and doing something to sort of create more hope for yourself and for the world is really important. And for me, writing the book was hopeful for me.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier that you hope that psychedelics become legal and get their status changed, and that is happening a little bit. So, where do you see psychedelic therapy heading? What excites you and what concerns you?
I think my biggest concern is that big pharma takes over and um, screws everything up. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be all about the money,
Hmm.
and that's terrifying. And like with mushrooms, it's illegal to go out in the forest and pick a mushroom and a psychedelic mushroom and eat it. I think that's ridiculous. And I think that if big pharma gets involved, that's going to be even like more so. Um, and I'm concerned that the people who have been working so hard towards legalization, like people like me who have been working in the field, who may not have the exact training that is going to be required when it is legalized, then what do they do?
Yeah.
I guess go through more training and stuff. But I think that's a concern. But overall, I am really excited that people are starting to take notice of this and that it will be legalized in my lifetime. I know that in my heart. And that's really exciting because it will change the world.
Yeah, I definitely have been hearing more and more about it. And I feel like more and more people are willing to talk about it also, either their own experiences or
Mhm.
what they do as a facilitator. And it's really interesting to see that increase because just since I started doing these mental health conversations, what, 6 years ago, 7 years ago now, it's like that change has happened. And to see such a big change in that short amount of time
Mhm.
is really it really does give you a little bit of hope of things are going in the
Yeah,
right direction. That's wonderful.
yeah, yeah.
For someone who's listening right now, maybe they're struggling, maybe they're curious about this path, what would you want them to know?
Um, that it's it's not a magic bullet. I th Yes, it can absolutely change your life, but you still have to do the work. So it's kind of like, um, taking a bandage off, like, you can rip it and have, like, a lot of pain and then be done with it, or you can, like, slowly pull it and it's, like, slightly painful for a long time. And, for m for me, I feel like psychedelic therapy was like ripping off the bandage. So it was really painful, and it was a lot of work, but it was so much payoff in a shorter amount of time than other ways of dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
So you still have to go through the what did the Marines say? Embrace the suck?
Sounds like the Marines, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you still have work to do. You still have to go through and
Yeah,
do things yourself. There's no magic bullet, there's no magic pill, there's no
yeah,
magic anything. Magic bullet's
yeah.
probably a poor choice of words there, but it's fine.
Yeah.
So we are coming up on the last few questions. So folks who are here live with us, if you have any questions, make sure that you go ahead and get those in so we can talk about them while we're here. But Bite Mark sent a question ahead of time. She would like to know, what is your favorite poem?
Favorite poem. I don't typically read poetry, but, I think song lyrics are really important, and that's kind of poetry. I would say one of my favorite artists is Andy Grammer, and a lot of his songs are just like if you read the lyrics to them, they make you cry. There's one about loving yourself, and it's like it's just his music is so uplifting, and, yeah, I listen to him all the time because it it's kind of therapeutic, like, if I'm in a bad mood and I put in his music, it just elevates me. So, yeah.
That's great. And
I don't know if
music,
that really answered your
I
question, but
mean, no, I think it for sure does because music is so, it can really help set your mood and set your, we were talking about intention setting earlier, like it can help set your intentions and it can help you focus. It can help you with so many things. We've done
Mhm.
whole episodes on music and mental health. So
Nice.
for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, it can have a huge impact on
yeah,
you.
definitely. Yeah.
What is your favorite life hack?
Um, I was struggling. There's a couple, but I think one that really starts every day on a positive note is instead of having an alarm, meh, 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 I I have my alarm, as a song. It's called "Good Morning" by I think it's Max Frost, and it's just so, like, uplifting, and it's like, "The rest of my life starts today," is one of the lyrics. So it's like, it just starts your day on that note, and it's just amazing how different it is to
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, alarms can be really annoying. I was talking about the wake up song with my kids. That's really annoying for them, not for me. I think it's hilarious. It's a mood booster for me to do it to them.
Yeah, I bet.
Oh, well, it is time for the magic moment of the stream. If you could wave a magic wand and eliminate one common opinion or misconception surrounding mental illness, disabilities, or talking about mental health, what would it be?
I think the misconception that depression is sadness or grief.
Mm,
So sadness is an emotion and depression is a state. So sadness can lead to depression, but you can like when you're depressed, it doesn't mean you're constantly sad. It's a state of being. I know that when I was in it, I just felt so disconnected from my life and the world, and it didn't have anything to do with being sad.
yeah,
So when people say, "Oh, just cheer up," or "Oh, it's gonna be fine," that's not helpful.
yeah. It's really, it really truly is something that's not, it's not something you can control either. It's not something you can just snap out of or Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with that one for sure. So Tiv has a question in here. You mentioned you go on group ayahuasca therapy every few months. Is this something you look forward to, or is it just something that has to be done to continue your own therapy?
Well, it's not ayahuasca. I've only done ayahuasca twice in my life. So the group things that we do, we're usually there for 2 or 3 days. So it's like a retreat. So we'll start with MDMA for one night or one day, and then next day we'll do psilocybin, and then the if we're there for 3 days, the third day is the integration day. And I still, I don't say that I get scared, but you definitely have to prepare yourself for it. It's really hard on your body for one thing. Like MDMA is really hard on your body.
Mm,
You can't do it very often, and it takes me probably a week to recover from MDMA. And as I get older, it's harder and harder. Um, and mushrooms, they don't react well with me. Like they make me really sick.
mm,
So for me, when I'm thinking about our weekends, it's about how horrible I feel, my body feels. So like the insight is amazing, but I know that I have to feel like absolute crap for several days. So it's kind of hard.
interesting. And so is this something that you think you'll do forever? Like getting together a few times a year and feeling like absolute crap for a week or just to have these insights? Or do you think you'll
I
eventually get down to like once a year or?
Yeah, I've started telling my friends that I'm gonna sit. So like in the past, we haven't had somebody holding the space. We've all been under the influence, which isn't the safest either. Like it
Yeah.
makes sense to have somebody who's not under the influence to keep the group safe. So I'm starting to sit things out now because I get a lot out of holding space for other people.
Hmm.
It's therapy in itself. It really I don't know how to describe it. It's an empathetic kind of
Right.
feeling that you're yeah. So I get a lot out of sitting it out. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know that I'm gonna continue doing these substances for the rest of my life. I feel like I've really healed a lot, and that I'm not getting as much out of it anymore because I don't need it as much.
Yeah. Do most people have this negative reaction to either to MDMA or to psilocybin? Is that a pretty common?
Yes and no. So I don't know what it is about me personally, but I'm a purger. I
Mm,
throw up for everything. Like everything
yeah.
makes me vomit.
Uh,
And that's not typical for everybody. I Most people feel some nausea
mhm.
from the substances, but not the way that I do.
Not to that
But the
extreme.
MDMA, it yeah, but the MDMA is tough on your body, not just for nausea and stuff. It's a chemical, and it does a number on your body.
Yeah.
It really it depletes your serotonin, so you kind of almost feel not depressed afterwards, but like you're really draggy.
Hmm.
It really hurts your jaw. It makes you
Mm,
clench, and so your jaw just really hurts for a couple of days. Yeah, it just makes you feel,
yeah.
uh, not quite right. Yeah.
Hmm. And then Tib also says, "Have you tried mushroom tea? Does that
Mhm.
help at all with the nausea?"
With the nausea? Yeah, so called lemon teching. So if you prepare the mushrooms in lemon juice, let them steep in lemon juice first, and then make it into a tea, it definitely helps. It
Oh,
breaks down the psilocybin into, psilocin, which is what your body typically does, so it does that for you, so that helps with the nausea, but even when I do that, I still get
yeah.
nauseous.
Yeah. What a bummer
Yeah.
to have something that's like, wow, this is so helpful, but it also I feel like trash after. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing your story with us and sharing some of these things that hopefully will help some folks who are maybe on the fence about this and help them find the right kind of facilitator for their own experience. But if you guys are looking to connect with Diana, I've got links for you. I'm going to post those one more time. And Diana, while I'm doing that, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. If there's anything we didn't talk about, anything you want to give a reference for or promote or anything like that, I'll just
Sure.
hand the mic to you.
I'll promote my book, They Could Be Saviors. Um, if you are in a book club, if at least 5 members of your book club purchase the book, I would love to come to your meeting via Zoom, or if you're in the Seattle area, I'll come in person. You can just contact me at my email, which is hello@dianacolleenauthor.com, and we can set that up because I love, love, love meeting my readers. I think it's really fun.
Oh, that's an awesome offer. That's fantastic. Well, y'all make sure that you reach out, and if you do say hi, make sure that you say hi publicly. If you do read the book, make sure you give it a great review. All of those things are really what helps, especially folks who are not on a big platform already. We were talking about how difficult social media is sometimes. It can be really difficult. So feed those algorithms if you hop on there. Make sure you do that. But
Yes, please.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, Diana, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
taking the time. This was a beautiful conversation. I'm so glad you're able to join me tonight.
Me too. Thank you so much. This has been really wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Folks who are here, give me just a minute. I will be right back. I'm going to give you a puzzle to work on. Stick around. Okay, well, now that I have chased my child to bed, hopefully. Yeah, that was fantastic. Oh, I forgot to stop it on YouTube. That's okay.